everybody, my name's Ace Trainer Liam and today is a very special day. Today marks the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. I for one am super excited for this day because who would have believed it back in the 90s that Pokemon would last for 2 decades and still be going strong? It's just such an amazing franchise that's so dear to my heart, and I literally am so super excited for the next 20 years of Pokemon. And in honour of this momentous occasion, Pokemon's 20th birthday, I'm going to run down 20 of the key moments in Pokemon's history that have not only made it the success it is today, but also kept it the success that it is today. August 28th, 1965, Satoshi Tajiri, the creator of Pokemon, is born in Setagaya, Japan. Satoshi is widely known as being the creator of Pokemon. It was his vision, his love of collecting insects and bugs that actually inspired him to create this game based around collecting and capturing monsters. Had it not been for Satoshi Tajiri, we probably would not have Pokemon. We might have something similar, because I'm sure like Yokai Watch and Digimon would have still come out, but Pokemon would never have been a thing, and that would just be an absolute travesty. April 21st, 1989, Nintendo released the Game Boy, the follow-up to the Game & Watch. Released alongside the Game Boy was the Nintendo Link Cable, which allowed players to play against each other in certain games, like you could play Tetris head-to-head, etc. But this little piece of kit actually inspired Satoshi Tajiri to make a game that utilised this cable to not only allow players to play against each other, but also to share and interact with people and communicate and connect so that you can collect them all together. That was Tajiri's vision, and the Link Cable made that vision that little bit closer to reality. April 26th, 1989. Game Freak Incorporated is founded by Satoshi Tajiri, Junichi Masuda, and Ken Sugimori. And thus the developers that have brought us Pokemon for 2 decades had finally come together and were now in business. 20 years ago today, February 27th, 1996, Pokemon Red and Green versions are released in Japan for the Nintendo Game Boy, and gamers are introduced to the fantastic region of Kanto in the wonderful world of Pokemon. And for the first time ever, gamers are asked, Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle? October 20th, 1996, the base set of the Pokemon trading card game is released in Japan. The trading card game, which of course took schools by storm back in the day because it was so popular, finally came into being and offered a great alternative to the video game. Not to mention the collectability of the cards and the availability of booster packs really made you feel like you were catching them all by collecting every single card. And from that point on, over 15 billion Pokemon trading cards would be produced worldwide. April 1st, 1997, the Pokemon anime debuts its first episode on Japanese television, introducing us to the lead character Satoshi, that we in the West would later know as Ash Ketchum, and his first Pokemon partner Pikachu, and even though they got off to a rocky start, they would form a friendship that would last season after season after season. So far 19 seasons in fact. April 25th, 1998, the first Pokemon Center store opens in Tokyo, Japan, where fans from all over the world could come to buy official Pokemon merchandise, from clothes to plushes to frickin' bags, textbooks, you name it. This was the #1 place to get your official Pokemon merchandise, and everybody who knew about Pokemon wanted to visit this magical place. Of course, in 2007 this store would close, but there are so many other Pokemon centers that have opened since, both in Japan and also in the United States, that fans will never be short of Pokemon Center merchandise. July 18th, 1998, Pokemon the first movie is released in Japanese cinemas and has an overwhelming reception. The fact that there was even a Pokemon movie in cinemas just really goes to show how much Pokemania had swept Japan at this point. September 8th, 1998, the English dubbed Pokemon anime appears for the first time on American TV, and thus the beginning of Pokemon's world domination begins. September 28th, 1998, Pokemon Red and Blue version are released for Game Boy in the United States. And finally, American fans could collect the Pokemon that they've been watching in the anime, which just made the game so much more successful and really began to cement the legacy of Pokemon in a much more global setting. January 21st, 1999, Super Smash Bros. Is released on the Nintendo 64, featuring an all-star cast of Nintendo's best-loved characters, including Pikachu as a playable character and Jigglypuff as an unlockable playable character. Not to mention assist Pokemon such as Charizard, Blastoise, Beedrill, Clefairy, Meowth, Onix, Hitmonlee, Koffing, Chansey, Goldeen, Starmie, Snorlax, and Mew. Further identifying the popularity of Pokemon, to see Pikachu and Jigglypuff alongside gaming icons like Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, and Samus was absolutely incredible and really did show that Pokemon was on the up. August 20th, 2004, the first official Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships are held in Orlando, Florida, where gamers from all over the world came together to just share their love of Pokemon and to compete for the title of Pokemon Trading Card World Champion. At this point, Satoshi Tajiri's vision of a game that brings people together is absolutely shining through. November 17th, 2005, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team are released on the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS respectively, and fans are introduced into a completely new way to play Pokemon. For the first time ever, rather than just commanding Pokemon to battle, you were playing as a Pokemon, albeit a human turned into a Pokemon, that just gave a different outlook on the Pokemon world. And of course, this detour from the original Pokemon format allowed more gamers to come in and enjoy Pokemon, because suddenly there was a different kind of game for people who perhaps didn't enjoy the original Pokemon format. September 28th, 2006, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl are released and introduce us to the global trade station, the GTS, where for the first time fans could not only trade with their friends, but could trade with fellow Pokemon fans from all over the world. Again, in keeping with Satoshi's vision, gamers from everywhere could come together, even from the comfort of their own home, to battle, to trade. It was absolutely incredible. And it allowed players like myself, who weren't always able to use link cables and things like that, to actually complete the Pokédex and catch all the Pokemon by sharing with a worldwide community. August 13th, 2009. For the first time ever, the Pokemon World Championships, this time being held in San Diego, California, not only allowed players to compete in the Pokemon Trading Card Game World Championships, but also introduced the Pokemon Video Game World Championships, something which would become a mainstay for years to come, so that gamers of all kinds can come together and be part of this massive, amazing community event. October 13th, 2013. Pokemon X and Y are released worldwide, and no longer are Pokemon displayed as sprites. We get full 3D models of all our favourite Pokemon, and it just absolutely shakes up the Pokemon franchise because the games now look absolutely incredible. People who struggled to get into Pokemon at this point because they found the sprite-based battle system to be a little bit tedious and kind of boring looking, now have these full 3D models of Pokemon that makes the game look so much more crisp, so much more interesting, and it really changes the way we look at Pokemon games, even going ahead into the future. March 15th, 2014. Pikachu is announced as Japan's official mascot for the FIFA World Cup 2014, showing that even 18 years later, Pokemon is still a force to be reckoned with in Japan, and of course giving Pokemon massive mainstream coverage once again. September 19th, 2015. Pokemon Go, the first ever virtual reality Pokemon mobile game, is announced. We still don't know a lot of details about Pokemon Go because Nintendo are keeping it very under wraps, but from the trailers we've seen, Pokemon Go looks like something that could be, potentially, an incredible game to play on our mobiles. February 7th, 2016. A Pokemon commercial is featured during the Super Bowl. This is like the most important time on American TV to have an advert played, and it really shows that Pokemon is still an absolute cash cow and is pushing and pushing to access an incredibly wider audience. There is not one person watching the Super Bowl that would have not noticed that advert, and it was such an important play by Pokemon to absolutely guarantee themselves such a huge audience for that commercial. February 26th, 2016. Pokemon hold a special Pokemon Direct on the Nintendo website where they announce the next Pokemon games in the series, Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Granted, these were leaked the night before due to Nintendo filing for trademarks for them on the 25th, but the official announcement made everything feel so much more real. One of the interesting things about this announcement is that they referenced all the previous games since 1996, and then ended with, in 2016, this is where they all come together. Does this mean we're getting a new multi-region game? We're going to find out later this year when Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon are released in the holiday season of 2016. I, for one, am super excited. Sun and Moon are just a fantastic example that the Pokemon Company is stronger than it's ever been, and it still continues to excite and amaze us. And I, for one, am so excited for the future of Pokemon. Before I end this video, I do just want to say a massive, heartfelt thank you to everybody that has ever worked on anything to do with Pokemon. Be it directors, writers, designers, producers, programmers, anybody, voice actors, all of you, everybody that has ever played a part in producing anything to do with Pokemon. Thank you so much for your ongoing work. Thank you for 20 years of amazing content and amazing games, cards, TV shows, movies, just absolutely everything. You guys have made Pokemon what it is, and I love each and every one of you for just how much work you've put in and how much great Pokemon joy you have brought to not only me, but to the entire Pokemon community. Thank you everybody for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button if you did, it really helps me out. And of course, hit subscribe so you never miss another video from me. I hope you guys are also excited for the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. As I said before, I'm super excited for it. I'm so happy for Pokemon as a franchise, and I just can't wait for more Pokemon content. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.